Hey guys, my name is Kyle, and this will be my tutorial for my cover of Dancing in the Moonlight by King Harvest. Um, Many of you requested this, and I was kind of surprised by how popular it was and how many people really wanted to learn how I play it. So I tried my best to break it down, and hopefully this makes sense. Anyway, let's get into it. So I'm in the key of C, but I'm capoed on the 3rd fret here. So I'm really in the key of E flat. But I'm thinking in the terms of C, okay? And so I got pretty much just 4 chords here. So it's a D minor 9, and then a G, and then a C9, and then I walk that bass down a G over B. So again, another G, except with B in the bass, and then an A minor 7. Okay? And so one note is that I'm plucking the strings instead of strumming because of just the arrangement. So each string has a finger to it. So I have my A string, the low A string in my thumb, the D string, the G string, and then the B string in my ring finger. And I don't really play the top E at all, really. And I only play the low E string in this G shape right here. And I'll explain that in a little bit. But for the most part, I stay right in the middle with these strings. And if you're not used to finger picking or kind of like a rhythmic type of finger picking, it might be a little bit challenging for you to grab the strings again, especially the way I've arranged this. My hand leaves the soundboard quite a bit. And so finding that reference point might just take some experimenting to figure out, how to get right back to the strings with your fingers. Okay, so those are the chords: D minor 9, G, C9, G over B, A minor 7. And actually all of the licks don't really leave those chord shapes. So once you get that, you're pretty much set. You just got to figure out the rhythms and everything. So going into the instrumental lick, I don't play that opening instrumental line like the original version. The original, I think, sounds more like that, like an F major 7 sound. When I was arranging it, I kind of preferred that D minor 9. It was a little bit more mellow to me, a little bit darker instead of that major 4 or the F major 7 sound. For the purposes of this arrangement, you could still play the F major 7. It's really of no consequence whether you play it this way or this way. For me, I just like it this way because I've arranged it with the D minor 9 as the starting chord. That's really all I did. Anyway, so the opening line is, and so each finger is just plucking straight up the chord, spelling out the chord, the D minor 9. And the second time I hit with my fingers to hit that chord right there. Okay, and then I move on to the G, again plucking the chord, and then the bass comes in. So pluck the chord without the bass note, because that should still be ringing from when you hit it the first time. And then the G, and then the bass comes in after. So it goes 1 and 2 and down. So it's on the upbeat. And then the bass comes in on the downbeat, right on the G. So that's the easy part. This is the challenging part, and this might actually take a few of you to get used to. So the way I've played it is that my thumb and my fingers are actually doing quite a bit. A lot of the rhythm comes in the right hand, and so my thumb is actually going up and down on the E string quite a bit, and my fingers, they pluck, but then when I do that slap, that percussive kind of technique, they also strum going up. So when my thumb rocks down, my fingers go up like that. And I've exaggerated a little bit just so that you can kind of see how I'm you know, what it would feel like when you do that. So it kind of goes like that. Okay, and then also another note is that when I slap, my thumb usually lands right on the A string. That's just purely because all of the bass notes really happen right there. And then even when I get to this G string, which I'm about to teach you in just a second, my thumb goes from the A string and it strikes the E string on the way up first. So when you slap and your thumb lands on the A string, it sets it up to catch that E string on the way up. And then again, when I slap on the C string, bass note is there, and again on the A. But it's really key for this part of the lick that your thumb goes past the E string, lands on the A string, because I do a slap first with my fingers hitting that chord, so you hear a little bit of that harmony coming through. And then I come up with my thumb on that low E string, that open E string. And when my thumb comes up, my fingers go down. You see that? So I hit, thumbs down, and when the thumb comes up, the fingers go down. And then I hit the G string, my thumb goes down on the G string, and then I pluck that chord. So it sounds like this. So hit, up, down, pluck. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense. And that's the first half of that lick. The second half, it's a pretty similar rhythm, except after I come back down, so I hit, pluck, hit again, and then up with my thumb, down with my thumb, and instead of plucking again, I hammer on with my pinky up here on that A, or A, you know, on that bass note. So in context, it sounds like this. Okay, actually, after I do that hammer on, I do another hit. So, okay. So the second half. So when I actually the second part, when I come up with the thumb, my fingers already left the strings, and then I close my thumb like that to kind of make a fist. And then that my hand's already set up after the hammer on to do that hit, just like that. So starting from the D minor. Just like that, okay? So that's what it should sound like if you kind of want to get that rhythm. And once you speed it up, it'll be a lot more rhythmic, and it won't sound as, you know, pretty mechanical. So it goes. Okay, now moving on to the C9 chord. So after I hit, I do another hit right on that C9. Oh, and one note before I get carried away. When I hit the G, C, and the A minor, I'm muting the E string with my pointer finger. So the D minor 9, I kind of mute it with my pinky here, just so that I don't accidentally hit that E and it rings out. Although you could, except you just have a little bit more control when you mute it. But with the G, I mute the E string as well as the A string with my pointer finger. So the G up here, and then I mute the A string with this part of my finger, the fleshy part. And then the E string is muted with this part of my finger, this fleshy part here. So that when you're hitting the strings like that, the A and the E, they don't ring out. Hear that? So that just that G chord rings out. Okay? So even when I'm rocking back and forth like this part is muting the E string in that lick. Muting. Okay? And then that's just to keep the sound kind of contained and and pretty tight. Because then otherwise it might get lost. The rhythm might get lost in those ringing notes. You know, it kind of washes out the rhythm. Okay. So you might need to get used to that sensation of muting the 2 strings at once with your pointer finger. Anyway, so then moving on to the C9. Again with the E string muted. So I hit, and then my thumb is set up. Or actually I hit, how do I do it? Yeah, so I hit, walk the bass down, C, B, pluck. So you'll notice that when I'm hitting with my thumb, plucking with my thumb, my fingers are already set up that once I hit the B note, they just pluck the chord immediately after. Okay, so it goes. And then when they pluck up, they're in position again to do a slap. And then after the hit, they come back down and pluck again, which is kind of like a pickup note into the A. So in context, it sounds like this. You hear that? So it's a pluck right before the A. So it's kind of like how we did the G, in that the chord comes first and then the bass note. Same thing there. Sorry. Okay? Because then when your fingers come up, your thumb should already be in place to hit that A. Now, this part of the lick is the same rhythm as the G, except it's an entirely different technique. I'm not slapping as much and I'm not using as much of my thumb. It's coming all right with your middle finger, holding the 5th right here, or this E, and your pointer finger, that's kind of making sure that melody rings out, okay? So once you hit that E, or that A, excuse me, you do another slap where you strike, but then you pull off with your middle finger. Okay? And remember how I said that when you slap, at least in this arrangement, I keep my thumb rested on the A string when I slap. So in between the E and the A, so that's on the A string. And then that's because when I slap, so it goes, so hit, pull off, bass note for this part. Okay? But then when I hit the bass note, I put my finger back on the note you just pulled off of, that E, because it sets up for the chord, that A minor 7 chord. So it goes hit, pull off, bass with your finger going back, and then the chord. Okay? So it goes. Okay? And the second half of that A minor, so it goes. So after you do the hit, pull off, bass note, pluck, it goes hit again. And because you've already practiced it, your thumb should be right there on the bass note, and then the bass note comes first this time. And then you pluck that open D with a hammer on, and then another hit. So that's what it should sound like anyway. Okay? So from the C, it goes up. Okay, so you hear how it's similar to the that ba 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 ba. That same rhythm, except it's a different way of hitting. You're not using your thumb. The thumb is purely just picking the bass note there. So I'll do it slowly from the beginning, and hopefully I play it exactly how I described it to you, so no one gets lost. Okay. I think I might have missed that bass note before the hit in the C. So there's a bass note before that hit. So everything I've said about the C, except put a bass note in front of it. So, okay. Anyway, and then I throw that lick in there while I'm singing, just to kind of fill out that space. The we can get it on 79 when the moon is big and bright. It's a supernatural delight. Everybody's dancing in the moonlight, dancing in the moonlight. Anyway, hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully I went through everything. If I missed anything or if it just doesn't sound right, let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this tutorial, then please leave it a like. And if you really like to see more of these videos, then please subscribe. I'll hopefully be making more of these in the future. I really appreciate everyone that supported me and really encouraged me to keep making videos. So thank you guys. If there's anything else that you'd like me to go over, or if you'd like me to cover, then again, please let me know in the comments below. Thanks. Bye.
Dancing in the moonlight, everybody's feeling warm and right. It's such a fine natural sight. Everybody's